What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Got a big time lightweight matchup going down this Saturday. Richard Commey defends his IBF lightweight title against Teofimo Lopez in the co-main event to Terence Crawford versus Egis Kovalevskis. This is going to be an exciting fight, 50-50 fight. A lot of people predicting that Richard Commey will show the young lion that he's not ready for a fighter of his experience and caliber. Some people think Teofimo Lopez is that special where he could take a championship level fight in his 15th fight and put on a great performance and win and snatch the title from Richard Commey. So you got people predicting both ways of how they think this fight is going to play out. In my opinion, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm going to let you know right now that I like Teofimo Lopez, man. I like Teofimo Lopez to win this fight. I just think he's got a little bit more tools in the toolkit. But what I mean by that is I think he's got a little bit more versatility. He got power in both hands. He got power in the right hand and the left hand. Where there is Commey, he's got that right hand. He's got the right hand you got to watch out for. That's his signature punch is the right hand. He's got a pretty good left jab. He goes to the body occasionally, but he bases everything on landing that right hand. And when he lands that right hand, he usually has high success when he lands that right hand. So he's the Deontay Wilder of the lightweight division. That right hand is what you got to worry about if you Teofimo Lopez. Now, Teofimo Lopez had a problem with the right hand in his last fight when he fought Nakatani. And Nakatani doesn't hit nearby as hard as Richard Commey. As I thought in that fight, Teofimo Lopez was waiting too long in that fight. He waited too long. I don't know. I think it was due to the fact that he landed a lot of right hands on Nakatani, but Nakatani ate those right hands and kept coming after Teofimo Lopez. I thought that Teofimo Lopez, got a little bit discouraged off that situation. He was landing the right hand, he was landing the left hooks, but Nakatani was eating those and still coming after him. I think that was a part of the problem. I thought that right hand that Nakatani was throwing, and he kept throwing it, man. He kept throwing it. He threw it even when he wasn't landing, man. He just kept throwing that right hand, and it kind of kept Teofimo Lopez more defensive minded than he wanted to in that fight. Teofimo Lopez was getting backed up in that Nakatani fight. He was fighting off the ropes a lot bit, close to the ropes a lot of times in that fight. As Nakatani, who was not the harder puncher, was actually backing up the harder puncher in Teofimo Lopez. Can't do that against Richard Commey because Richard Commey's right hand is going to be much more powerful than Nakatani's right hand. And if you on them ropes, close to them ropes like that, Richard Commey is going to close the distance. He's going to close the distance and he's going to start going to the body and start trying to rough you up and basically impose his strength and will on you and just try to break you down and break your will. So he's going to have to be much more aggressive, and he needs to keep this fight in the middle of the ring and don't let Richard Commey back him up like Nakatani did. If he do that, he's going to be in trouble. But I think the difference in this fight is Richard Commey is implementing, based on his last performance against Ray Beltran, he's implementing a seek and destroy offensive style of fighting. He's much more aggressive. Against Ray Beltran, he could have actually boxed Ray Beltran and won that fight a little bit more easier. He could have boxed him, softened him up, and then went in for the kill later on. But he actually fought a Ray Beltran type of fight. Very aggressive, toe-to-toe battle. In those right hands, he landed a lot on Ray Beltran. Hurt Beltran multiple times, dropped him multiple times, and eventually stopped him. But on the way to the stoppage, he had some traps, some potholes, some booby traps that I saw that he possibly could have fell into if he fighting that style of fighting, man. He was getting hit with a lot of left hooks in the Ray Beltran fight. A lot of left hooks. If Ray Beltran don't have the power that Teofimo Lopez has, if he get caught with them same left hooks like he did, and he got caught with right hooks too. He get caught with especially the right hook because Richard Commey was dropping his left hand as he was trying to load up on the right hand. And Ray Beltran picked up on that. He started catching with those right hooks. Now, if he does that against Teofimo Lopez, it's going to be he's going to get put to sleep without the NyQuil because Teofimo Lopez got power in both hands. Like I was telling you about Richard Commey, you got to watch out for the right hand. With Teofimo Lopez, you got to watch out for the right hand, the left hand, the right hook, the left hook. He's a devastating body puncher. So he just has more tools in the toolbox than Richard Commey, man. And I think Richard Commey implements that style against Ray Beltran. That fight doesn't make it past the first half of the fight. That means the first 6 rounds, I see Teofimo Lopez getting a knockout within the first 6 rounds. Now, if he comes out and box like he did in previous fights, then he has a chance to win. You know, he has a chance to get the fight into the second half of the fight. Maybe Teofimo Lopez gets discouraged because he's not getting the early knockout, and he's catching Richard Commey with some shots, but Richard Commey is taking those shots and not going nowhere. And Richard Commey is steady loading up on that right hand, and he's finding some success with the right hand. And Teofimo Lopez starts backing up and waiting and looking to counterpunch out of the Mayweather shoulder roll defense. Then I think that's going to give Richard Commey his best chance to win the fight. Get that fight in the second half of the fight and start trying to take over, use your experience in championship level boxing. You've been in there with Richard Commey Jr. You've been in there with Dennis Shakarov. As I butcher his name, you've been in there with those guys, lost very close disputed decisions to those guys. If you get Teofimo Lopez in that same situation, maybe Teofimo Lopez starts thinking back to the Nakatani fight. Say, man, well, maybe it's different when you're on another level of fighting. You're not fighting the Magdalenos and the Menards and the guys of that caliber. You're fighting elite level fighters that are not going, that you're going to need more than power to beat. You're going to have to use other things besides power. You got to use boxing IQ. You're going to have to set your punches up, and you got to use your will to overcome those type of opponents. You can't just rely on power. As Sergey Kovalev found that out when he fought Andre Ward. You ain't gonna just beat a guy of Ward caliber with just power. You got to show that you got the heart. You got that ticker inside of it. You got that will. You got that high boxing IQ, and you got that. You got to have that. You got to be that fighter that can make adjustments inside the fight, inside the ring. As the fight goes on, you can make those necessary adjustments. You got to be like a computer, calculating the opponent's every move and seeing, okay, if I do this, they're going to react this way, so they'll set up this for me. You know, you got to be able to do that. That's what I'm talking about high boxing IQ. So we'll see what happens, man, but that's what I'm predicting, man. I'm predicting that Teofimo Lopez will get a first half of the fight knockout. I say 5th round knockout for Teofimo Lopez. If Richard Commey chooses a fight the way he fought against Ray Beltran. If he boxes, which he showed in fights he can do, then I think he has a chance to get the fight into the second half of the fight. And I think he has a chance to, get that fight into the second half of the fight, and he has a chance to possibly beat Richard Commey. Outpoint him, or maybe get a late stoppage. You know what I'm saying? Maybe win a decision. I have a hard time thinking he's going to win a decision. I think Richard Commey needs to get a knockout. I think if it's a close, competitive, back-and-forth type of fight, they're going to give it to Teofimo Lopez as they're looking to make Teofimo Lopez the next big Latino star for Top Rank. You know, Bob Arum and Top Rank have, promoted a lot of big-time pay-per-view Latino fighters. Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto. So they're looking at Teofimo Lopez as their next big pay-per-view Latino star. So they're gonna give him every benefit of the doubt to win this fight. So Richard Commey needs to go into this fight knowing that he needs to get a knockout. He can't just weather the storm and maybe in the second half of the fight come on and have your moments and maybe win more rounds than Teofimo Lopez and expect to get the decision. I don't see that happening. So his best bet is to box and then try to soften up Teofimo Lopez, get him in the second half of the fight, start landing your right hand, start going to the body, and try to get a stoppage or get a knockout in the second half of that fight. Maybe the 10th, 11th round, try to get a stoppage victory. That's his path to victory. His only path to victory, in my opinion. Teofimo Lopez can win it in the first half of the fight, first 6 rounds, or he can catch him with some late in the fight. Like I said, even if Commey is fighting from a distance, Teofimo Lopez can kind of start closing the gaps. And like I say, when you got power in both hands, you just need to land one shot combination, and you can change the whole trajectory of the fight, and you can make a very close competitive fight end suddenly in that particular round. And that's what Teofimo Lopez will be looking to do if Richard Commey chooses to box instead of coming out in aggressive, seek and destroy style of fighting. So we'll see what happens, man. But my opinion is based on Richard Commey last fight being aggressive, and I think he's gonna come out and try to challenge the young lion and try to make it look like that he's in with a whole nother level of a fighter. And I think that'll be his downfall. He'll be in the pocket too much, and I think Richard Commey will catch him with a right hook and drop him in the fifth round. Fifth round knockout for Teofimo Lopez as he becomes the IBF lightweight champion, and that'll set up a huge fight with Vasily Lomachenko, who's top 3 pound for pound in early 2020 for the ESPN and Top Rank Boxing. If you agree with my prediction, leave your comments in the comment section. If you think Richard Commey is going to win by knockout or decision, tell me what round. Just tell me he's going to win with a 12-round decision. If you think, like I'm thinking, that Teofimo Lopez is going to get the knockout, text what round you think it's going to be in. Or if you think Teofimo Lopez is going to win the decision, you can text that. And we'll see what happens Saturday night. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.